Here I am rambling, and I digress a little bit. I wanted to give you a little background. So I want to do a little review of Carmax. It's been about a month. I put about 1,000 miles on the truck. Oh, and by the way, I guess I didn't finish. After it did all this, I took it for a drive. I drove it about 50 miles. Normally I baby this truck, but I was pretty hard on it. The transmission feels very strong. The engine feels very strong. It didn't do it again for some reason. So anyway, but that brought me to doing this video, because when I was out driving last night, you know, at like 11 o'clock, I noticed that the high beams were brighter than the low beams were brighter than the high beams. And I'm like, well, that's weird. So I looked, and the passenger side high beam filament is burned out. And I think that would be an easy thing they would catch during their 125-point inspection. So really what I want to do is I want to go over some of the things I've found since getting the truck, to be fair to all of you and anyone that's going to shop at Carmax, and specifically Carmax in White Marsh. Now, before I get into Carmax, I want to tell you my salesperson there, her name's Kendra S. She's fantastic. She was patient with me that day. I've called her a couple times to check up and ask her some questions. She's always patient. She's always available to me. I told her about this problem. She was available to me. She said, if you have any problems, just give me a call. She gave me her cell phone number. So she's great. Kendra S. at White Marsh is great. But I don't know about that actual White Marsh Carmax. I've seen some bad reviews of, but let me see if I can get my notes all on so I can tell you about it. It's a little hot in here. I've got the windows closed because the traffic on my road is just, it's outrageous. You know, I live on a very busy road, but I'm going to roll down this window. Hopefully you can still hear me. So the first point is the car was filthy inside. I think I told you about this when I did my initial review of the Nissan Frontier. I mean, it was filthy. I've got in here with the spot box twice to clean out all the dirt, and I must have emptied like 6 or 7 really dirty water pails, you know, from each cleaning, and the first 2 were like black. So the inside of this car was filthy, and as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to buy a car from somebody, used car, new car, whatever, it should be spotless on the inside. It should be like they have taken it to a detailing place, because this is a new car to me, and even though it's a lot cheaper than a new truck, it's very expensive. I paid a lot of money for this truck. Okay, so the first thing I noticed when I got the truck home, I lifted the hood and I wanted to check the oil again or something, I can't remember which. I found a corroded positive terminal on the battery, badly corroded. Now, that is a very minor thing to check, a very minor thing to fix. It's not a big deal to fix, and it's not a big deal to check, but it can be a big deal to the person that just bought the car. Why? Because a corroded terminal will make it so the battery cannot charge properly, and that the battery cannot provide enough current properly, so that you can be stuck in a parking lot at Walmart and your car won't start late at night. Or say you pull over on the side of the road and shut your car off for a minute to check something or do something or call somebody on the phone, say, because you don't want to text and drive. You could be sitting on the side of the road late at night. So a very minor thing to check that can have serious consequences. So when I saw that corroded terminal, I'm like, what's this? You know, because I could see it right away. So at that point, it gave me a lot less faith in their 125-point inspection. But let me go over a few more things that I found. So the right side, I think I've already discussed this, the right passenger side high beam filament was burned out, and I also think that that is an easy thing to check. However, when I went to look at the light, it was actually, the bulb was actually loose in the socket. Somebody, I think I'm going to give them a little bit of a break here. I think somebody tried to replace the bulbs, but they did a half-assed job, and they didn't put the bulb in properly, and maybe it wiggled around there and broke later. So I fixed that, and then looking at the left side bulb, the driver's side bulb, that wasn't in there properly either. It wasn't loose, but the bulb was in there cocked at an angle. It wasn't seated properly, and the clamp that was on there was kind of on there by one tab, so that wasn't right either. Now, to be fair, it is a bitch to change these headlight bulbs. I had to take the battery out on the right side, which only takes 5 or 10 minutes to get that bulb in there, so I could get it in there properly. I might have been able to get it in there properly without taking the battery off. But why not take it off and do it properly? And if you're Carmax and you're making thousands of dollars on a car, then maybe you should take the time to take the battery out for 5 or 10 minutes and replace those bulbs. Okay, the ATF fluid had no hint of red in it, and that's why I did that initial drain and fill. Now, to be fair, I don't know what the transmission fluid looked like before they got the car, and even though there was no red in the transmission fluid, it looked okay. It actually wasn't black or anything when I drained it out, so perhaps they did do a drain and fill, to be fair. Now, the oil in the engine was clean. They had obviously just done an oil change, and I've got the sticker here, and they put a CarQuest oil filter on there. I have no idea about those. I just assume they're cheap, but they did it, so good for them. And one thing I also noticed is the brake fluid in the fluid reservoir was probably, it was way over full. It was probably like this much full, and that's one thing I checked. The reason I checked it is because when I figured out this ABLS or VDC light was coming out, I thought that one reason that could happen is if your brake fluid was low. So when I checked it, it wasn't low, but it was way over full. Now, to be fair, I don't know that having over full brake fluid reservoir would actually do anything to the brakes or cause the ABLS to go off. And based on what I found already, there's one more thing. Sorry, I forgot. The air filter in this vehicle, yesterday I pulled it out to look at it just kind of on a lark, was filthy. I mean, it was filthy. It had, like on the bottom, or on one side of the filter, it was like 3 inches of black dirt, and on the other side it was 1 inch. I don't think that filter had been, it's a K&N filter, and you clean those, you don't change them. I don't think that filter had been changed in a long time. So I don't know what's going on with me lately, but I've been deleting videos I need to keep. For example, this particular camera, and I guess all Canons, they split the video up into a couple sections. So I deleted this section after that, but it was just me rambling, saying I will keep you involved or keep you informed about the VDS or ABLS fault, see what happens with that. If it doesn't come back on again, which I don't have a lot of hope for, I will let you know about that. I'm going to drive for a while and see if I can do some troubleshooting, see if I can figure out exactly what it is before I take it into the shop, so I don't, you know, have to take my car in and they don't diagnose it and all this. I'll let you know how that process goes. And that is usually why I work on my cars myself, because I know they're done right. And if they're not, it's no one's to blame but me. But usually it's all done right. I don't trust other people to work on my car or really do anything for me. And that has been proven correct time and time again. But anyway, I'll keep you informed on that. I'll also let you know if it doesn't happen again. If I do take the car in for service, I will likely take it into the Nissan dealer or a transmission shop or something like that, probably the Nissan dealer, because I really don't trust Carmax based on those points I just made about how they were supposed to inspect all these things and they haven't. One more point that I forgot to make is it says in their 125-point inspection, it's called O2 Renew, that they check or change the spark plugs. I happen to know changing the spark plugs on this Nissan Frontier is a real bitch. I think what they do at the dealers, they take off the intake manifold to get to the one side. I think you can do it without doing that, with some like swivel sockets and things. But based on what I saw about the battery corrosion and the air filter, just the minor things they should have done that are easy to do, and since they didn't do them, I kind of doubt that they changed the spark plugs. It just so happens that on this vehicle around 70,000 miles, you need to have the spark plugs changed, so it'll be a real bitch if I have to do that. Not that it's expensive, but it's a bitch. And the reason I think maybe a spark plug might be bad is I seem to be getting a misfire sitting at a stoplight with my foot on the brake and drive. It'll sit there, it idles, the vehicle idles about 500 or 600 RPMs, and then you'll see it suddenly go down. And when it first did, I'm like, what the hell is this? Is the engine going to stall? But it doesn't. So I don't know. I'll keep you informed on that as well. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Hopefully it'll be nice, and I'll see you guys next week.